censorship to maintain the lie.
Candace,
They were
I
censoring
visited
independent voices who were
hospital
saying,
wards with people filled with people who did not take the vaccine and on their deathbeds. You know what they said to me? I wish that I had not listened to the people, to the QAnon and to the non-vaxxers and to those people. I wish I hadn't done it because maybe I wouldn't be in this hospital dying.
oh, that's so shocking that you were able to talk to people on their deathbeds because people were not even able to see their loved.
Whoa. Okay, guys, you're watching DonLemon make some wild claims about visiting COVID patients on their deathbeds. But Candace Owens, she's about to catch him in one of the most obvious lies I've ever seen on mainstream media. Watch this. He supposedly interviewed multiple people during peak lockdowns, the same lockdowns where families couldn't even say goodbye to their loved ones. Something's not adding up here, and it exposes exactly how they manufacture these narratives. Let's break this down together.
Ones. The hospitals were so locked down. So how were you able to speak to so many people on their deathbeds in hospitals in New York City?
But no, this was not in New York City, as a matter of fact, and it was
Where were you?
it was after the lockdown. It was at the hospital where I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh. Now watch this. See how quickly Don tries to change his story when Candace catches him? First it was New York, then suddenly it's Baton Rouge. This is exactly how mainstream media personalities create these emotional narratives. They count on you not questioning the details.
And
Yeah, it's quite shocking because they were not allowing in hospitals for people to even see their loved ones, and yet you were able to talk to people on their dying bed.
You forget that there were
that was their death wish, to talk to DonLemon about the vaccine. This seems like one of those
Candace,
stories when they
you're
say,
trying to
like,
explain to me where I
it
was
just
and
seems
what
like
happened,
one of those fairy
and you're
tale
not.
stories where they say,
Don't try
like,
to
on their
explain to me,
deathbed,
Candace.
she said,
This was
you know, I just don't
after-
really buy that.
this was
I don't really buy this,
after-
that you spoke to tons of people on their deathbeds.
Okay,
I just,
this was after.
I'm going to rate that false.
Okay, no, you're not going to rate it false because all you have to do is go back.
Was it their last words
Go
too?
back and look. No, their last words were not to me, but some of their last words were to me because some of them died after I left the hospital. It was not when we had the lockdown. This was shortly after things started to open back up. We could actually travel on planes, when we could leave our houses, and there were still people in COVID wards. And I interviewed them when I worked for CNN, and they said, I wish that I had taken the vaccine because maybe I would not be dying. And their loved ones afterwards,
they allowed journalists
said that on their deathbed. So
words.
what you're saying, I think, is completely.
Well, I just want to share a story too. I too was allowed as a journalist into hospital wards, and people said to me on their deathbeds.
The pattern here is insane. Every single time someone challenges these deathbed confession stories, they fall apart under basic questioning. But here's what's wild. They keep using the same playbook because they know most viewers won't catch it.
I wish that I hadn't taken the vaccine because it didn't work, and I'm still dying on this deathbed. So I had the same thing happen to me.
If it didn't work and they're still dying, then
I got the vaccine, and yet somehow I'm still on my deathbed. So clearly it didn't work. So that was that. I don't know. That's what they shared with me on their deathbed.
Okay, so if they wouldn't,
I was allowed into a hospital
that doesn't
ward
make
here in
sense
Tennessee.
though, because how do they know if they didn't, if they didn't get the vaccine? What difference?
They did get it, and they were still put on ventilators. So the vaccine didn't work, and so I'm a journalist. They allowed me into the hospital wards, and that's what they told me. And I was working.
How were you able to go in the hospital wards when we were on lockdown and they got to talk? I'm just being facetious here.
I know.
It goes both ways. Okay, so this is a quote from you right after you said that you were leaving the cult of science. Okay.
Remember that narrative control is everything to them. Notice how Don quickly tries to shift to conspiracy theories when his COVID story starts falling apart. Classic deflection technique. They use it every single time.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to play clips. I know that you want people to watch the full episode.
No, I'm fine. I'm happy to put them in context.
Clips. And you said, quote, no matter what, if there is a bunch of people who believe something, I now want to know what it is. So in the spirit of all of that, and if we can do it quickly here, right? Because I know that you're very busy and you have things to do. So I want to know, and you can tell me yes or no if you agree or disagree, because some of these things are deemed as conspiracy theories, like flat Earth or round Earth. I know that you said maybe that was taken out of context. So I'm going to say if you agree or disagree. These are not clips. These are just quotes. The 1969 moon landing was staged in Arizona.
I 100%, after reading this book, Chaos, believe that the moon landing was a complete and utter ridiculous hoax on the American people. I used to not believe. I actually always had an instinct about that one, and then I read a lot into it, and I was just like, okay, this is actually kind of ridiculous. It's like the Easter Bunny for adults,
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The U.S. government was behind 9/11.
No, I don't believe the U.S. government was behind 9/11.
You don't. You think it was just as reported.
Not as reported. Obviously, not as reported. I did a whole episode on that. People should watch it.
Okay.
With tons of things that we weren't told
It's still
about it.
it's still up online. I would okay, go ahead. People can
Mhm,
watch
yeah.
it. All right.
Mhm.
The mass shootings that have been faked to promote gun control laws.
No, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Barack Obama was not born in America.
I don't even know where that one comes from. I don't know anything about that.
Listen, you guys, this exchange exposed way more than just one fake story. It revealed the entire mainstream media playbook: create emotional narratives, avoid specific details, and attack the questioner when caught. If you're tired of being manipulated, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop exposed in the comments if you see right through their games. The truth movement is just getting started.